Welcome to Ouch. Was that a ghost? This podcast may contain graphic material, which some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me.
Now that we covered that, here's your host, Liz.
Welcome back to Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Joining me today is Kris from Twisted Tales, from up in Canada, the Canadian co-host with the mostest.
I try.
How the heck have you been?
I've been all right. Busy at work. Not too bad, though.
Nice. And how's the pod going?
Oh, it's going all right. Trying to finish up, some Ted Bundy stuff and some people getting stabbed at, Popeye's chicken and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Wow. See, I'm afraid to cover Ted Bundy because I've heard that a lot of, the victims' families like to sue or have sued, authors and stuff before because of using their name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they better not listen to the 11 episodes that I have.
11?
Yeah, I have 11 episodes on Bundy and all his victims. I'm gonna do... where the fuck am I at? Colorado. Yeah.
Oh, you're just going state to state.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. He killed a lot of people. Yeah, I didn't think he killed this many people. I still have Florida to do yet, and then his court stuff, and then I will be done with Ted Bundy.
I know, even when he gets to court, it's a whole ordeal after that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. He, defended himself when he was drinking, vodka and tomato juice the whole time. It was great.
Didn't he escape twice, too?
Yep.
Yeah, he's just yeah. And it's so crazy how people are, so fascinated with these serial killers just because they're good looking. So they become, way more idolized than they should be.
Oh, definitely.
You know, they just did that with, what was the most recent guy? Wade Wilson? The Deadpool guy?
I guess, I don't know.
So what was the other one you said you were covering? The chicken?
Oh, yeah, just, people just encounters at, weird, chicken restaurants and stuff like that, like KFC and Popeyes, these, weird encounters. One guy actually, they brought back this big sandwich or whatever, and, some guy skipped in line, so little argument happened. They went outside and Buddy stabbed him, 15 seconds. It was ugh, and he died, and then he got, fucking 20 years or something, 22 years.
I remember hearing about that in the news when people were going insane because they brought, the spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that was 2019.
I waited. I gave it some time to cool down before I tried it. And it wasn't even all that. I'd rather go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, they had the whole, chicken wars with, Popeyes and stuff, so it was pretty cool, pretty interesting.
What's your chicken sandwich?
Honestly, I like the Burger King original chicken sandwich.
Ugh, that's the worst choice ever.
Yeah, I know, but it's good. I enjoy it thoroughly.
All right. To each their own, I guess. So today we are going to be covering the Lost Girls of Panama.
Ooh.
So Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon were two young women who disappeared in 2014 while they were hiking a trail in the Panamanian jungle. Parts of their body were found months later, and according to Dutch and Panamanian investigations, I said that weird. According to Dutch and Panamanian investigations, the case was solved and was ruled as accidental deaths, but not everyone feels that way and suggests possibly they befell their fate due to something more sinister, and the actual cause of death of these young women are still speculated about to this day.
Crazy.
Yes.
How'd they die? Accidental deaths.
Well, we're going to get into that. This kind of gives me Dyatlov Pass vibes.
Yes. I need to cover that at some point too. That's in my list. Somebody sent that to me there fucking weeks back.
That is a bizarre case. It's never going to get solved because all the evidence was thrown away, but it's weird.
Should we try to solve it?
I think we should.
I mean, we could either do that or, look for the body of Jimmy Hoffa.
All right.
Yeah.
Kris Kremers was born August 9th, 1992, And Kris was described as being very creative, very open, friendly, and a responsible young woman. Lisanne Froon was born on September 1st, 1991. They were both like 21, 22. They both grew up in, I'm going to butcher every single Dutch thing I say, Amersfoort.
Amersfoort.
Do you know that word?
No.
Okay, well, what you said, located in the Netherlands. Lisanne was described as intelligent, optimistic, and she was said to be very passionate, and she was said to be a great volleyball player. Both of the girls had just finished up schooling, Kris for cultural social education, specializing in art education, and Lisanne just graduated with her applied sciences, like a psychology degree. They worked together at a cafe, which I will now proceed to butcher the name of, in Den Kleinen Hop, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Kris and Lisanne became best friends, fast friends. They ended up moving in together, which you really have to like someone if you want to work with them all day and live with them.
All right.
They saved up for 6 months to go on a trip to Panama. It was sort of the celebration.
Panama. Van Halen? No?
Yeah, Panama Jack.
Ah, Kangaroo Jack.
I never watched that movie. My kids love that.
That's a good movie.
One day.
We'll get there.
The trip was to like celebrate finishing school and just to have an adventure. Like they were in their 20s and they were planning on brushing up on their Spanish, doing some backpacking, and they were going to stay with a local family. And these young women in their early 20s, even on vacation, wanted to volunteer with children at a local school. Like that alone speaks volumes to the character.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Good people.
Kris and Lisanne arrived in Panama for their 6-week vacation. Like, that's a good vacation. On March 15th, 2014. They spent 2 weeks traveling around and exploring Panama, immersing themselves into the culture, and they made their way to Boquete, Chiquita Banana by March 29th. They arrived at their local host family, where they were planning on volunteering with the children. They went to the school to volunteer, and they were actually turned away because the school had a different date for the girls to volunteer.
Okay.
And Kris wrote in her diary that the person she spoke to was, quote, rude and not friendly at all, and went on to say that, quote, tomorrow they'll try and get a hold of the head teacher, and this was a real disappointment. Which I don't even know why, if they're volunteering, they wouldn't just find something for the girls to do.
Okay, yeah. So they were just trying to keep them occupied?
No, they were like, oh, you were here at the wrong day, so just go away. Not like, okay, well, we could use you for something else. They would just like go away.
Gotcha.
So the girls brushed themselves off and they decided to go for a hike, even though they had a planned hike with a guide the next day. They made plans with this local guide who offered to bring them through the Pianista Trail, which followed the Continental Divide. And then he said that they could even hike to his personal ranch and stay the night if they wanted to. But for some reason, the girls ventured off on their own the day before, maybe to just get a feel for the hike, or maybe they were just too excited or upset over being turned away from the school. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. So the morning the girls went on their hike, they went and had lunch with some Dutchmen that they were friendly with. And they were posting on Facebook, as young women do, talking to their parents. And then they took a taxi to the start of the trail. About 10 witnesses did report seeing the girls starting the trail, so we know that they at least made it there. Kris and Lisanne started their hike to see the area around the Barú volcano. They packed light with a backpack with a bottle of water to share. They dressed in shorts, tank tops, and hiking boots. Some sources say that they brought the host family's dog Azul, which means blue. And some say the dog that they brought was from a local restaurant owner. Either way, it said that they brought a dog with them. And they were off. They had their phones.
How big was the dog?
I wrote down what kind of dog it was, too. Give me a second.
I would like to know.
Hold on.
You're welcome.
I have pictures of him, but I don't know what kind of dog it is.
Worcestershire sauce.
Do you know dogs types?
Some.
Here, I'm texting you what it is so you can figure it out. Text you a picture of him. Beautiful dog. But either way, they brought a dog with them, and they were off, with their phones charged to around 50%. This was around 11 a.m., and the hike is said to take around 3 to 4 hours each way. So like 3 to 4 hours up and 3 to 4 hours back if you stick to the trail. And this trail is like, you're basically in the jungle, so veering off can be dangerous. And they set out on the El Pianista Trail, which is about 2.6 miles long, with elevation points about 2,000 feet, where it peaks, it allows you to see the whole area. And I guess this was where the clouded forest was, which sounds amazing. I want to go.
Oh, okay. Siberian Husky mix.
Oh, okay. I know dogs are handsome. I don't know types, though.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So this area is described as, it's kind of split on what the internet says. Some says, oh, it's an easy trail. Some say it's a medium. Some say it's hard. So I don't know.
Okay.
This area is known for being really cold half the year, and the other half of the year it has these rain showers that can make the trails very dangerous. It can make mud go up to like your knees, and they have clay spots, so they can become very, very slippery.
Slippery slopes.
Yep. But locals say basically that some people do go there and get lost, but they usually find their way back, or if they're noticed to be gone too long, a local will go and get them and retrieve them. But evening came around, and Asul the dog returned to the host family or to the restaurant, wherever he came from. That's, again, also varies on the internet, without the girls. They thought this was strange, but the two girls, they're visiting. They're not their children. Like, they could have finished the hike and been out doing something else.
Right. They could have.
But the next day came around, and that guide that had been hired to bring them through the Pianista Trail went to go, meet up with the girls, and they weren't there. So he became concerned and went to the host family, who in turn called the police. The police weren't like super concerned. They were saying basically like, oh, these are just young girls. And nobody seemed too worried until two full days passed, and they haven't been heard from.
That's 48 hours.
Thank you. That's the same in Canadian time?
Oh, that's correct, yes.
Perfect. Their families back home were notified, who were already concerned because these girls kept in regular contact, and it was really out of character for them not to hear from them.
Okay, so it's just totally out of pocket.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's like my kids. I text them constantly, and same thing. They're adults, but I'm still like, where are you? What are you doing? You left? Oh, did you get there safe? Did you go there? Like,
yeah, but to get no response or anything after 48 hours is pretty crazy. I mean, it'll make you worry.
And they're in a whole nother area. They're in Panama, and they're in the Netherlands,
Panama.
So a search team was sent out. They checked the jungle and surrounding areas. They did an aerial search, but it showed nothing. By April 6th, this is 5 days after they started their hike, the families flew out to Panama from the Netherlands, bringing some authorities with them, some law enforcement from the Netherlands. So they began searching for the missing girls. And then Siniprog, which I guess is Panama's National Protection Agency, got involved, and they told the local authorities to just stop their searching, that they were taken over, and they searched the jungle again. There was no sign of Kris or Lisanne. And the agency that was now in charge told like all the local indigenous people to stop searching, which I don't understand that, because they would know the area better than anyone else.
Well, yeah, unless they were like, if it wasn't a crime scene or anything, they didn't want people going through that, but it wasn't a crime scene at this point, right? Weird.
Yeah, and no one knew where they were, and these people knew the terrain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And apparently a local guide said of this, it was, quote, a clusterfuck. And remember, these girls only packed for a short hike. They had one bottle of water between the two of them. They could drink stream water, but, I mean, that's like Oregon Trail diseases, dysentery. That's not a good idea.
No, and we're full of not good ideas.
Correct. And this was...
I remember this case now you're talking about it. I heard about this before.
You heard about it?
Yes, I did. Carry on.
This was like 5 days after they went missing, and the chances of survival after a week diminished greatly. Like no food, no water, no good. The parents offered a reward of $30,000, which was huge money in Panama, and after a week and a half of searching, the rain became so intense that authorities had to call the search off.
Shit.
And then just nothing until June 14th, which was over 2 months later. It was 10 weeks later. A local indigenous woman of the Negroni tribe turned in a backpack that she found by a rice paddy that she was tending.
Ooh,
She
rice
claimed...
patties.
Did you know what that was? I didn't know what a rice paddy was.
I have no fucking idea. Maybe like, I don't know. Something.
Hold on, I'm looking up a
Yes.
definition. It's a flooded field of land. It's for growing like rice.
Rice.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you were right about that one.
But she claims that this backpack 100% was not there the day before. Her village was in Alto Romero in the Bocas de Toro province, which was about 12 hours walking from where the girls were hiking. The backpack was perfectly intact, no sign of water damage or signs of being in the element for that long. And if you remember, they had to call off searches because the rain was just too intense.
Yeah, and for that not to have any water damage is pretty nuts. Like maybe somebody might have had the backpack at some point and just chucked her somewhere. Who knows?
That's quite a theory. And the fact that it was found miles, like over a 10-hour hike from the last known location, is insane. But inside the backpack was Lisanne's and Kris's phones, 2 pairs of sunglasses, Lisanne's digital camera, an empty water bottle, Lisanne's passport, some cash. Some sources say like $83, some say $88, but it was around $80. And there were 2 bras in there, which that's kind of, I don't know. But their phone activity was checked, and the phones were working fine. No sign of water damage. And the activity showed that the women tried calling emergency service numbers numerous times. The phone information was pulled up, and almost 80 calls were made to 112 and 911. 112 was like the Netherlands 911, and 911 was 911 in Panama.
Did you say 80 calls?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Some sources say that none ever connected, and some sources say that one call connected for 1 second and then disconnected. Which, I mean, that false hope must be like heartbreaking for those girls.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, for them to get like a 1 second phone call, they're like, oh, cool, and then it disconnects, you're like, oh, shit.
Right? Yeah, this area was like super, super dense, like trees, and I'm sure the signal was like nothing. And it showed that the girls made the first emergency call only 6 hours into their hike.
Only 6 hours, eh? So maybe they ran into some trouble or something.
The first call was placed from Kris's iPhone at 4:39 p.m. on April 1st. She tried to call 112, and then again from Lisanne's Samsung phone at 4:51 p.m. Unfortunately, none of these calls went through because, like I said, there's no signal in the jungle. Over the next 2 days, April 2nd and April 3rd, it showed that the phones made several more attempts to contact emergency numbers, but none were connecting.
Oh, shit. Probably just because, like, just a shit, like, there's no bars on the phone, right? They're that deep in the woods and stuff.
Yeah, it's just jungles, trees, no towers out there.
Well, nothing to ping off of, right?
Yeah. So on April 4th, Kris's phone was turned on and off a few times. Investigators theorized that this was to preserve the batteries and then just turning it on, checking for signal. On April 5th, 4 days after they left, Lisanne's phone was turned on and off, and then it was just never turned on again. On April 6th and 7th, Kris's phone was turned on, but had several failed PIN attempts. So whoever was trying to get into the phone didn't know her PIN number.
Well, if they didn't know the password too, right?
Yeah, but some think it could have been Lisanne that was trying to get into it and just didn't know her friends, or it could have been a complete third party.
Touche.
And this continued, turning it on, wrong PIN. And the last time a PIN was attempted was on an incorrect pin was attempted was on April 11th, and then Kris's phone was just shut off. And some people think maybe Kris was already dead by this time, or maybe it was a third party, but the phone's battery still had 22% left on it. So it wasn't like it died.
That's pretty odd.
Yeah, right? And the strange thing about the phone call attempts is most of the attempts to call emergency service, whether 112 or 911, was at about 10 a.m. or about 1 a.m. They were like daily, just kind of those time periods that they were attempted. Lisanne's camera was also looked at. Again, no water damage. The photos on the camera showed the girls, smiling Kris and Lisanne. They were posing. And as the photos progressed, it showed how the girls made it to the summit. They took some photos. But for some reason, the girls kept going past the summit where they were supposed to go to and then turn back, showing that at some point they strayed off their trail. And as the pictures continued, the previously happy girls now had this whole new vibe. They no longer were smiling. It was just, you have to look up the pictures online. They just have this kind of, I don't know if it's stress, fear, something going on in their face.
Like a somber kind of look, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on April 8th, this is a week into the hike, 90 pictures were taken between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. deep in the jungle. And this would have had to be almost completely dark. Because like I said, it's super dense. There's trees all over the place. It just gets really, really dark. And in some of the photos, it appears that they were near a river or a ravine. These 90 pictures were taken mostly of landscape. They were all pretty much the same, or what appear to be like meaningless objects. Like they had pictures with a rock and a plastic bag or a twig on it. And the twig had some type of like red cloth thing on it. It could have been like something from their backpack, but it looks almost like the plastic at the top of your trash bag that you like tie.
Yeah. Like the Glad trash bags. Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks kind of something like that. One picture is of a rusty mirror on a rock, and some think that this may have been some sort of message the girls were trying to send, with like placing these things in different positions in their succession. It would be like one.
Maybe it was like something they were trying to leave, like as a trail of where they were and shit.
Yeah, but it was like no one's been able to figure out what they mean to this day. Like a lot of them would be like that twig that I said with that little red thing on it, and there'd be like a dozen pictures taken in different angles, like they were trying to send a story or a hint. And they also had SOS written with toilet paper on a rock with the mirror in the center, which may have been there hoping that there was some sort of reflection from the rusty mirror to signal for help. Well, some say these pictures were taken, the girls were just trying to see in the darkness using the flash from the camera to illuminate what was around them. Some speculate that these pictures were also, illuminating in front of them so they could walk. But a lot of experts dismiss this because if this was the case, they'd be moving forward. And these pictures were just taken like in the same spot, but different directions. Like if you were sitting in a chair and you just spun around taking different pictures, you weren't going forward.
No, that's right.
Others have speculated that the pictures were taken to try and signal a search party for help, but it was so dense that nobody would have seen it. And if they really were trying to do that, you would think that they'd go back on the trail and not like stay off of the trail. One of the most talked about pictures shows what appears to be the back of Kris's head, showing her hair because she had like strawberry blonde hair. And some say that you can see blood around Kris's right temple, while others say that you can see a nose and a mouth. And
Gotta look these pictures up.
after this, Lisanne was no longer visible in the photos. So this led people to speculate that by this time, Kris was no longer alive, and Lisanne might have been the only one taking the pictures. And some people think that maybe Lisanne was taking pictures of her friend who died, and the water level was so intense that, she wanted to take pictures before the water swept her away. But if that was the case, it's weird that she would take a whole picture and just a close-up of her hair. I don't see the blood that everyone claims to see all over her head, but a lot of people online, like if you go on Reddit or different posts, everyone's like, oh, it's covered in blood. I don't see the blood.
Okay.
But one of the experts that examined these photos claims to see a monkey bridge in the distance of the photo, which, if you know what a monkey bridge is, because the water gets so deep there, some of the natives use it to cross. It's like literally just a rope that you'd walk across, and then there's 2 ropes up above that you'd hold with your hands. So you're balancing yourself walking across, which is like beyond dangerous and something I could never imagine going on. But some think that maybe the marker, like the little twig with the marker things, were done as like a way for Lisanne to tell a story, to show what happened to Kris's body and show what happened. Maybe she fell by now thinking that she wasn't going to make it out of there. Because one of the theories being that Lisanne tried to cross the monkey bridge, which is very dangerous, and maybe this somehow caused her death. But if it is true and she fell over 50 feet, that wouldn't explain how that close-up photo of Kris's hair happened. She would have to climb down 50 feet to take the photo. And it doesn't make sense because the photo shows her like up top.
Mm-hmm. Lots of twists in this, eh?
But some think it might, like I said, to tell a story. Others suggest that it may be taken by an unknown third party who had the camera, who was responsible for their deaths, or as a way to signal for help. And as the photos were gone through, digital cameras, the photos are numbered, like in succession, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the pictures were numbered like 1, 2, 4, you'd know one was missing, right?
Yeah.
Well, in her camera, the sequential photos took a break. It went 0508 and then 0509 was missing. And this would have been a photo that they took from the first day, which I guess isn't something that's easily done. Like, you can delete the photo, but it would still be there. And some experts say that a computer was needed to fully delete the photo. Like, you'd have to take the SD card out, put it into a computer, delete it, and then put it back.
Okay.
But, I mean, there is also the chance of technology error, but slim.
Very slim.
Yeah. But after the backpack was found, searches began again all along the Culebra River, searching the area where the pictures were taken by the girls. And the local indigenous people of the Ngoni tribe helped search the area. And Kris's jeans were said to have been found on a rock, folded and zipped a few miles from where the backpack was found.
Weird. So somebody kind of found them and folded them up.
There's that. But then there's also people that dispute it and say that they were not folded, but they were just found. Just to put that out there.
Ah.
But a few months later, the Indio tribe found a pelvic bone. And this bone was broken, and it couldn't be concluded if it happened while she was still alive or post-mortem. They also found a rib bone, and they found a boot that was later confirmed to be Lisanne's with a foot still in it.
Jesus Christ.
As the search continued, at least 33 bone fragments were found scattered along the river. The bones were tested and confirmed to be from Lisanne and Kris. Most of the bones were bent metatarsals of Lisanne's left foot. And the odd thing about the bones is Lisanne's bones still had some skin attached, as would be expected for this time frame, like an average state of decomposition, while Kris's bones had nothing left and appeared to be bleached, which would usually take, if naturally, years to happen, not months.
Yeah.
So they think that some sort of chemical, like lime, was used to speed that up, or something was done.
Just to speed up the process?
Yeah, and the fact that her bones had nothing, and the others had skin. In total, only about 10% of Lisanne's bones were found, and only about 5% of Kris's. Their skulls have still not been found to this day. And when a forensic anthropologist from Panama examined the bones, he said, quote, "There are no discernible scratches of any kind on the bone, neither of natural nor cultural origin. There are no marks on the bone at all." And remember that quote, because Panamanian law officials claim that the girls went too far, got lost, and one may have fallen from the monkey bridge, and the other died due to lack of food and water, and that the girls were scavenged by animals. Now, you have dogs. If a dog has a bone, are there going to be marks on it?
Well, yeah, if the fucking dogs get to it, yeah.
But the Panamanians are saying that the girls were scavenged by animals. But then when you have forensic anthropologists looking at the bones and saying that there's no marks on the bones, to me, that does not add up at all.
No, that's weird.
Yeah. So we'll get into some theories about what happened to the girls.
Hooray.
One is that they got lost in the jungle, which I mean, they did research the trail. They knew when to turn back. So it's not really clear why they would keep going past it. Maybe they saw something or they got somehow off the track, and some say that maybe they were with someone that led them off the trail. That tour guide is another big person that's spoken about, the one that was to bring them the next day, and he was the one that went to the house and was like, "Oh my gosh, these girls are missing," to the host family. And the Daily Beast actually delved into it like super deep, went down there, did this whole investigation. And I guess people were saying about this tour guide that he was like pretty much a creep. Like he would hang out with tourists. He really liked girls from the Netherlands, Dutch girls. And he did have a cabin nearby. And he was the first one to realize they were missing and inserted himself pretty heavily into the investigation.
What a creep.
Agreed. And I guess he used to like swim with the girls, like the tourists, even though it was prohibited.
Oh, okay. So he'd like, hey, let's go over here, nice lake and all this stuff.
Yeah, and he has this huge cabin not far from where the girls were found.
Ah.
There's the theory that, one may have been injured. Some say they weren't experienced enough. Wild animal attacks. But I think wild animal attacks you can kind of discredit if there's no markings on the bones, to me.
Well, exactly. Because, I mean, if they were attacked by animals, they would gnaw at their bones, obviously.
Yeah. And any of these don't explain why the backpack is still dry.
Yeah, that is a weird one. It's like fucking Bermuda Triangle shit.
Yeah, the cameras, their phone, everything's still working. And this wasn't like a nice backpack. Like, not that it was terrible, but it wasn't like a waterproof, you know what I mean? It was like just a cheapo backpack.
So maybe somebody took it and had it in the inside during all this and fucked around with all their stuff. Who knows?
Why would you give it back, though? Why would you? I don't know.
That's weird. Maybe they just gave it back to... I don't know. That's odd. Yeah.
Some theorize that they ran into somebody before or during the trip, and they may have been kidnapped or killed. And this could explain why not all of their bones were found. And this could explain the wrong PIN codes. Another big thing is because they placed the calls at 10 a.m. or 1 a.m., some people think that maybe they were being held, and this was the time where the person that was holding them would leave, so the girls could make a phone call. But if that was the case, why would he let them have their phone?
Well,
Or
yeah,
to
I
take...
mean, there'd be no reason for him to give back their phones, right? Like, that would be something he would obviously keep, you know?
And even if they could hide the phones, where are they hiding this digital camera? Like the whole thing, unless the person that took them was making the calls and taking the photos, but that doesn't make that much sense either.
No, and even if he hid the camera, I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities in this. It's like a twisted tail, buddy.
The whole thing is just, I don't know. Another theory is that the natives in the area had the backpack, and this has no premise, but I see it a lot online, that they may have eaten the girls, which I can dismiss that one, I think. I have no
Well,
knowledge of it, but that's just a out of nowhere theory that people throw around. Some
well,
people
I mean,
think...
probably like headhunters and shit, or some kind of crazy tribe or something, maybe. Fuck knows.
Yeah. But organ trafficking or sex trafficking is also a theory, but if it's sex trafficking, how is a pelvic bone sitting there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But the police really didn't do that great of a job over there. The backpack did have 30 different fingerprints on it, but it was just never tested. A taxi driver that came forward, the one that brought the girls to the beginning of the trail, he, a year later, drowned. and some suggest that maybe a gang may have followed the taxi driver and gotten info to where the girls were going and followed them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they did something with the girls, and that's why the bleached bones were to cover up what they've done. But if they could dispose of the rest of the bones, why return that one?
Maybe he couldn't swim.
Christopher. None of these theories have been proven. The Dutch and Panamanian investigators have put forward that most likely they had some sort of accident. The case has been studied over, and many people do believe it was an accident. There's been a book written, this is going to be tough, by Marja West and Jürgen Snorgen. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but I just can't pronounce anything. They were authors who wrote the book Lost in the Jungle. They concluded that, quote, we believe the most likely explanation is that they had an accident, but it's not 100%. And I feel like a lot of people don't think that it was an accident because of all the things, because nothing fully adds up in this case. So what do you think? Yes, what do you think is the most likely?
I think it's pretty crazy.
But if you had to put forth a theory, what do you think happened?
I think they got lost. They tried to turn around, and maybe they found, somebody that they thought they would help, and he just maybe ended up killing them, I guess. That's a theory.
That is a theory. But yeah, sadly, I don't think this case ever will be solved because there's really not much evidence left. I wish that they did test all the backpack evidence and
30 different fingerprints.
acted a little bit sooner. Yeah, and like maybe the day they were missing, gone out there and looked.
Yeah, but I mean, look at fucking police work anyway, right? Like, someone will be like, oh yeah, well, she's missing, well, she'll turn up, or maybe she ran away, or like, those are the two big ones, and then that's time that's lost,
Yeah, for girls that, I mean, they were hikers, but this was a complete different trail. And if the water came through, then that's kind of like a complete game changer. And they didn't really go with, I'm not blaming the girls, they didn't really go packed for like a long hike.
Just a couple days.
Well, it was only supposed to be 3 to 4 hours up and 3 to 4 hours back.
Oh, so a whole like 8 hour thing.
Yeah, max 8 hours. But it's a very sad case. These poor girls that like graduated and this was supposed to be their celebration.
That's terrible.
But yeah, that's the case of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon. And if you want to look up any of their pictures, they haven't released all the pictures to the public, but there are a good chunk so you can see kind of what I was talking about with the twigs in the back of the hair. And some people say that they can see like orbs in the back, making it like a paranormal thing. Some say that they can see, men hiding in the trees in the background. I don't see anything that people are saying that they see. And the only orbs I see are like raindrops that are on the photo, but I don't know.
Maybe they're mistaking the raindrops for the orbs, I guess. I don't know. Everybody sees things different, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you got so many people looking at those photos, you're not going to get a clear answer.
Yeah.
Unless, like, you're specialized in, like, photography and all that shit, I guess. Or, like, some kind of professor dude.
And even the professionals that have gone over the photos, there's a photo when Lisanne is up the top. Well, it's assumed that Lisanne is up the top taking the photo. And down below, it's something that's in the shape of a body. So some people think that that was Kris down there that got swept down there with the water.
Oh, shit.
But they could never enhance it enough to be sure. Like everything's just maybe on this case. Maybe. Like there's no actual definitive anything on this.
That sucks, eh?
It does.
Oh, well. To definitive and beyond.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Kris, for coming on. And if you guys
No
want to
problem.
check out Kris, he is on Twisted Tales. Well, I'll post Kris's link below. So if anyone wants to hear more about Kris, you can click on the link and it will bring you right to him.
Thank you very much. That would be appreciated. And I'm actually working on a couple shorts, so I'm going to need you this week. So
Let me know. I'm here.
perfecto.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. And I would love to hear your theories on what happened to these poor girls.
Yeah, so put some comments below, and thanks for listening to Ouch Was That Twist.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
If you need more content or just want to help support the podcast, head on over to patreon.com and search Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you need some snazzy merch, you can find it at crowdmade.com by searching Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you have a story you'd like to share, you can email it to ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and all the other social media platforms under Ouch, Was That a Ghost?
Help me.
All links can also be found on ouchwasthataghost.com.